Can confirm that Ziha Bibo was not one of the 90 high-risk travelers that the RCMP is currently investigating. According to some accounts, he was an individual who may have held extremist beliefs. I can tell you that we do have now information that suggests an association with some individuals who may have shared his radical views.
And welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm John Downs in for Pat Boland. We're learning a lot more about the man responsible for the shooting on Wednesday, and a very clear picture, in fact, quite literally many pictures coming in involving that shooting, including his very brief drive, U-turn and drive up to Parliament Hill, and his 80-second trip basically into Center Block. Joining us to discuss what has been very revealing, obviously, in the last little while is Alexandra Gunn by the War Memorial. And Alex, it's I'm guessing a tough day at this point. Now the tape is removed, people have the opportunity to lay flowers down at where this all began.
Exactly, and John, we are seeing a lot of people doing just that today. The site is now open and available to public. So as lunch hour approaches, and it is open right about now, a lot of people are starting to make their way to the National Memorial. And that's really where we saw the footage from Parliament Hill that RCMP Commissioner Bob Paulson revealed to us at the RCMP presser. You can see in some of that dramatic video footage that came from Parliament Hill of the route in which the terrorist took after he shot and killed Corporal Nathan Cirillo, and then how he made his way up to Parliament Hill, and then of course making his way in through Center Block where he was later killed. Really shocking video, and I think it really was important for the public to see, because there was a lot of concern about whether or not there was one or two or possibly more individuals responsible for that terror attack that we saw on Wednesday. So the video footage really does give a clear idea as to what happened, the events that unfolded, how he drove from the National War Memorial and then made his way to Parliament Hill, how he took over a ministerial car and then drove his way up to Center Block. So seeing that footage and getting a better idea of just how it all unfolded is certainly chilling, but at the same time really important for the citizens of Ottawa to see, and Canadians as well, because it does provide so much information about that attack.
You know, and considering how long Wednesday just seemed to go with the lockdown lasting forever, just a reminder that this all occurred in just a couple of minutes.
Exactly, and when we first heard of the reports, you know, Sun News was on site as quickly as possible. There was, of course, police everywhere, and you can see in that video the police following behind the video that he commandeered as he made his way up to Center Block. Police were on his tail, and it did happen so quickly that in a moment's notice, he was already in through Center Block and making his way through the halls. So it did happen very quickly. For people who were on the ground, of course, they were shocked to see that this terrorist was wielding a high-powered rifle, making his way through the downtown core. Everything here is so close by, but certainly Ottawa is a very peaceful city, John. We know that there have only been 4 homicides in the past year, so it really was shocking for a lot of citizens to hear that something like this was happening right here in our nation's capital, considering that this is, you know, something that we usually only hear about overseas. So certainly it was shocking for that sense. But at the same time, we saw how quickly it happened, and then the entire downtown core was shut down. So today we're really looking to all of the people who are paying their respects at the National War Memorial today. A lot of people have been on site already. It was blocked off and taped yesterday, so police had a very strong presence there. They're still there today, of course, but certainly we are seeing more and more people being granted access to that site. They're able to go up, lay some flowers, pay their respects. And we have seen a lot of people walking away very teary-eyed. Really unfortunate events that did happen on Wednesday, but that does speak to the conversation that does need to be had about security here in Ottawa and security for all parliamentarians as well.
Well, a lot of conversations going on right now, and I know, Alex, you had an opportunity to talk to people in Ottawa. So why don't we have a look at the reaction from some of these people as we learn more about the shooter and the incident itself.
I think that the city is a bit rattled, but I don't think that it will define Ottawa so much as that it is Canada. We are a strong country and we'll move forward.
I just wanted to come down here and show how honored I am that a Canadian gave his life. And a lot of times reservists aren't given the recognition that they should be as part of the Canadian Forces.
There's also been a lot of resistance when it's come to the idea of tightening up security around the area. I mean, Ottawa is known as being an incredibly peaceful, as you said, a very accessible city as far as capital cities go.
Exactly, and that accessibility is something that everyone cherishes. I mean, when tourists come to town, they're able to walk on Parliament Hill. It's something that you don't see in the United States, something that you don't see in other countries as well. So although Ottawa is as accessible as it is, and Parliament Hill is as accessible as it is, it's certainly something that a lot of people are reconsidering right now. We have been hearing from various MPs on all sides, whether that be Conservatives, Liberals, or NDP, about what sort of security measures should be tightened and where we should make those restrictions. Not everyone wants to see the Hill with limited access. People like having that accessibility, but certainly yesterday's events, John, really go to show just how easy it was for one individual to make his way, and like you said, in 80 seconds, to Parliament Hill and get that access to what was caucus day. So all of the MPs were about to be seated, and there was the possibility that that individual could have gained access if he had any understanding as to where he was going once he was inside. He could have received access to the different caucus groups. He could have potentially received access to the Prime Minister of Canada. So really shocking and terrifying to think that something like that could have possibly happened. So although there are some discussions that are happening right now about what security measures need to be taken, people are also looking at the RCMP as well, because some are wondering, why wasn't he on this list? They know that there are right about now 93 people who are on the no travel list and are on their watch list, but this terrorist who made that attack on Wednesday wasn't part of it. So do we have the resources here in Canada to ensure that when someone like this does pop up, do we have knowledge of them? And I think that really was a clear indication on Wednesday. We had no knowledge of him. Yes, he was related to someone who is currently on the watch list, but John, it certainly wasn't enough. And I think a lot of Canadians today are wondering whether those restrictions and the tightening of security is going to be made and what we're going to see in the coming weeks. Still unknown, but certainly it's going to be a discussion that's had in Parliament, a discussion that's going to be had amongst police and RCMP, even CSIS as well, to get a better understanding of what needs to be done to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again. And of course, that will take some time to implement, but Canadians certainly want to see it.
Well, Alex, it's a conversation we're just about to have here with Tarek Fatah, but I thank you for being there today, and have a good one.